So Nietzsche's expression, famous expression, God is dead, sums up so much of his philosophy. And I think if we think deeply about this expression, if we get under the surface of what it means, it can help us think through the psychology of climate change more effectively. So first of all, the phrase itself. What does Nietzsche mean by God is dead? Well, of course, it doesn't mean that God is dead because gods don't die. I mean, by definition, supreme beings don't trip over and fall dead. It doesn't really mean either that the church is dying. I mean, it is true that towards the end of the 19th century, various cultural forces like Darwinism, like Richard Strauss' Life of Jesus, which kind of deconstructed the Bible and tried to show, question the historical veracity of the New Testament accounts. And culturally, in some ways, the church was a fading force. So there could be an argument for saying that Nietzsche's describing the death of God in terms of a kind of cultural wave, but that's really to miss the point. When Nietzsche says God is dead, what he means is that truth is dead. But you can't say truth is dead because you're effectively saying that it is true that there's no truth. And that's a contradiction. So in order to say the non-truth using language, using truth, you have to say it in a way which is metaphorical. You have to say it in a playful way. So we end up with this playful 3 words, God is dead. Maybe a helpful way to understand it, if, again, I talk about my daughter, when she was little, 4 or 5 years old, we used to go on walks in the mountains in the Alps, not the Swiss Alps, but the French Alps. And she used to enjoy catching butterflies. So we'd be walking in these national parks, and of course there's various laws about protecting nature. You can't pick flowers, you can't kill animals, you can't build houses and so on. And at the beginning, she would run off as a little enthusiastic 4-year-old up the mountain path, and sometimes she'd come across butterflies and she'd catch them in her hands and then come back to show them to us. But the problem was that, of course, a 4 or 5-year-old has got rather clumsy hands, and this sometimes led to the death of the butterfly, or certainly a de-legging or something like that. And so after a while, it's like, okay, it's probably not a good idea to do this. We appreciate your love of nature and animals and so on. But you're going to have to stop. So as an alternative, what we proposed was that she just sort of runs alongside the butterflies, like run alongside these creatures. You don't have to catch them. And although I didn't share this with my 4-year-old at the time, it made me think about Nietzsche and about his understanding of the truth, in that in order to capture this non-truth, the truth, non-truth, you kill the thing in the act of trying to catch it. So better then just run alongside the non-truth with your playful language, with your playful aphorisms, with your playful language. So this is why Nietzsche, when he did his philosophy is not philosophy in the usual kind of textbook sense that you get with, let's say, the arguments of Descartes or Kant, thinkers who write in a kind of linear way, building arguments and syllogisms, building sequences of thought towards conclusions. Nietzsche's philosophy is much more aphoristic. It's much more loose. And that's because he's trying to express things which are fundamentally paradoxical. He's trying to put words on things which in a way you can't put words on, because the equipment which we want to use, like philosophy itself, language, is itself undermined by Nietzsche's philosophy. So this is encapsulated in his famous expression, God is dead. and essentially saying truth is dead, but he's saying it in a playful way, and he's saying it with all the cultural relevance that it's going to have to resonate with, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this next section.
Have you not heard of that madman who lit a lantern in the bright morning hours, ran to the marketplace and cried incessantly, "I seek God, I seek God"? As many of those who do not believe in God were standing around just then, he provoked much laughter. "Why? Did he get lost?" said one. "Did he lose his way like a child?" said another. "Or is he hiding?" The madman jumped into their midst and pierced them with his glances. "Where is God?" he cried. "I shall tell you. We have killed him, you and I. All of us are his murderers."